And haven't seen the benefits of reading, haven't known that this is what reading does for you. I bet some of you didn't see it this way, right? Yeah, that's why you joined this class, and I applaud you for that, right? I bet you didn't see it this way. Reading does so much for you, more than just builds your vocabulary, helps you knowledgeable, just puffs up your knowledge, or just puffs up your head with knowledge and all of that. No, reading does so much for you, so much more than that. So having seen that, let us look at how to face your fears, right? How do you face your fears and excuses? How do you face your fears and excuses in terms of reading now? And fears, the acronym I'm using for fears is false excuses appearing real. False excuses appearing real. And I took a survey some time back in a session I did for people who wanted to build their reading habits. And these are some of these points I came up with are some of the feedback I got, and also from some external research that had been done. And these are some of the most paramount reasons why people say they don't read. Number one, I don't have the time to read. How many of you fall into this category? Let me know in the comments. How many of you fall into this category of, I don't have time to read? Yes, Shalom Adedokun, reading stretches you, it increases your attention span and rewires your brain for endurance. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So let's see how does reading benefit you? Let's see how some people are saying that, okay, I'm seeing that in the comments already. So if you fall into this category, let me see it in the comments. I don't have time to read. Let me see it in the comments. You fall into this category. I don't have time to read. Let me see it in the comments. All right. Aha. Nifemi Oguntoye. Guys, Nifemi Oguntoye is a very, very busy man, and he's an anchor with TVC, right? So yeah, we have some VIPs in the class today. Marcelina, yeah, great. Marcelina, thank you. Yes, Marcelina says, I still try, but time has really been a great factor. Absolutely. I don't know who this is. It's showing me Galaxy S7 Edge. Okay, please, if you can rename your device for me to be able to identify you by name. All right. Thank you for your honesty. Victory, Agada. Exactly. The first step to change is awareness and honesty. I always say this everywhere, all the time. The first step to sustainable change is awareness, number one, and then honesty with yourself. The moment you start to lie to yourself, forget it. It's gone. You've lost it. All right. There's no room for improvement. There's no room for improving or solving a problem you are denying in the first place. It doesn't work like that. All right. Fatai Kudus. Yes. You fall into that category. Taufik Yahaya says, my job ordinarily entails a lot of reading. So I usually have an unending list of work-related reading. I don't have time for others. Beautiful. Thank you for your honesty. There's only so much time to be able to read that so much volume of books or materials. But I'm going to be sharing some details with you to help you overcome that. Lemuel Steven says, I find it hard to balance work and reading time. Same here. I used to be you, right? Thank God you came. Quite difficult. Ayoradel says it's quite difficult. A lot of things competing for my attention. Yeah. All right. So you can see that you are in the same WhatsApp group. Can you now see that if you're struggling to find time to read, you are not alone, right? Your problem is not unique. That should give you some solace. That should give you some comfort that you are not alone. Till today, I'm sharing this with you in this class, not because I have been able to crack this 100%, but simply because I have been able to find a way to manage this, right? And it helps. It may not be 100% of the time, but it helps if you have a way to go around the business of life and still find time to grow yourself. The second reason is I don't have the money for books. Yeah, a lot of people fall into this category too. Books are expensive, guys. Books are expensive. there was this book I went to one of these bookshops called Rolling Heights to buy. There's another book I went to one bookshop, Spine and Labels, thereabouts, to buy. And just a copy of the book was costing me about 35,000 naira. And I was like, okay, coming from where coming from 2009, when I started buying books for my library, the average book price was around 250 naira to 500 naira. So my mind could not comprehend how we got from 500 naira to 35,000 naira. It made no sense. So if you're in this category, I sympathize with you. I understand with you that books are actually expensive, right? Especially the good ones, because good books, number one, they are hard to find. Number two, when you now find them, they are expensive to get. So yeah, I understand that. Another set of people say reading is boring. Reading is boring. And of course, I would not agree with this 100% because I can't openly tell you that reading is boring. Some books are boring. Reading is not boring. Some books are boring, right? It's just like saying traveling is boring, right? Or if you say that, oh, it's so hard to get to Brazil. No, it's not hard to get to Brazil. It just depends on the means of transportation you use to get there, right? If you go by road, you're on your own. I don't even think you can go by road. If you go by air, right, it may be easy for you. Even when you go by air, if you go by commercial flight, it's a bit more difficult for you when you go via commercial flight than when you go with a private jet. You see that? So, different strokes for different folks. All right. So, if you say reading is boring, I will have to tell you, I'll have to ask you to check what you're reading. So, let's go through this. Other people say, I can't read books back to back. That's there. Others say, I don't know what I should read. I prefer audiobooks, podcasts, YouTube videos. I'll be showing you why these things are good, but they are not necessarily the meat. Other people will say, I can't concentrate. My mind keeps drifting. I know that I experienced this even till today. I still experience this. My mind still drifts, but then I'll be showing you a hack discipline to be able to bring your mind back to the book you're reading. And that's one of the ways to do that is to limit distractions. All right. So other people say, I don't need books. I prefer articles. I think this set of people will need a lot of deliverance today. The ones that say they don't need book, they only prefer articles. Please stay in this class, get your writing materials, and allow me to take you through this journey to help your life. Because if your mindset panders along this spectrum, you're in for a big problem. All right. So these are the false excuses appearing real. And the reason they are false is not necessarily because they are invalid. No, it's because there are solutions for them. So why settle for the problem, or why linger with the problem? Why linger with the problem when there is a solution? Gravity is not a lie. Gravity is real. But the reason why planes can fly is because they can tap into the law of aerodynamics. You see that? The reason why spacecraft can break through, go into space, is because they have what they have the capacity for what we call escape velocity, to be able to gather enough momentum to escape Earth's gravity and to head to space. It doesn't mean gravity doesn't exist. It only means that they found a way to use other laws, right? So your excuses are not invalid. They are real. They are there. But what I'll be showing you is how to plug into, in quote, aerodynamics so that you can suspend gravity for your own advantage. Okay, so for people who say I don't have time to read, We all make time for our priorities. If you say you don't have time to read, then that gives me an idea that, okay, I think it's a question of priority. And I'm not speaking out of a hunch. This is proven, this is proven based on various studies that if you don't see something as a priority, there's hardly any chance that you'll get to do it, even if you have it in your head that you want to do it. You see that? Yeah. Victory says it feels like a project I need to tackle. Absolutely. So even if you have the best of intentions, if you don't see something as a priority, you are less likely to do it. I can assure you. That is why, aside from having goals, the secret of having you fulfilled or to carry out those goals is to seep them into your daily life. How does your reading goals connect with your daily life? I'll be showing you how in a few slides. There's something I call the habit loop and how to make reading easy, how to make reading accessible, and a few other systems. Just form a four-pronged approach for you to help you. Let's quickly do that. Going at so after this, we'll get into that. So if you want to read more books, then you need to prioritize reading. And one of the ways to prioritize reading is that you will have to take a stock take of your life right now. It is not so much about time management. It is about attention management. I'll take that again. It is not all so much about time management. It is more about attention management. Why? Because reading requires attention. And there are so many things vying for your attention. Social media is there. Games are there. Real life is there. Legitimate real life concerns are there, right? Needs that need to be met. For most of us, we have to earn a living, right? So these are legitimate and, if you're honest enough to admit, illegitimate factors that steal your time and attention from reading, right? So you have to take a stock take of your life right now. Where is the bulk of my time going? What apps? My phone has a way of if you have my phone has a way of telling me how much amount of time I spent on my screen for the better part of the previous week. It shows me, and I'm seeing that, okay, some weeks it tells me that you spent on the average of 8 hours on your phone last week. Okay, so that's an average of 1 hour every day on my phone. And I'm like, okay, that's not bad. For some of you, it's 18 hours. Some of you is 20 hours. For some of you, it's as high as 30-something hours a week, right? And this is not to judge you in any way. If your phone is where you make your living, by all means, you would have to invest hours there. But if you are in a profession or your vocation doesn't necessarily always require you to be on your phone all the time, then there's a problem there. You see that. If you spend 5 hours every day watching movies, every day dedicatedly watching movies, I will not blame you if you are training to be a movie director. I will not blame you if you are in the movie industry because you are in your turf. Okay, you are learning from the best. All right, you're trying to hone your skills. But if you don't have any business in the movie industry and you're spending 5 hours every day consistently watching movies, that's 5 hours. That's 5 hours you cannot spend on other activities because time is a zero-sum game, right? The time you're giving to something, there's an opportunity cost. It means there's something else you cannot do within that time, right? So take a stock, have a stock take. Where's the bulk of your time going? All right. When you make reading a priority, you will also make the time. That's what I wrote here. When you make reading a priority, you will also make the time. Timing is important. Very, very important. All right. So let's quickly go through this again. Another excuse, I don't have the money for books. Now, I would like you to see books as an investment. if you see books as an investment, you are less likely to grow when spending on books. You are less likely to see books as a waste of resources or a waste of money, right? Because you see books, you see knowledge as an investment. On my money app on my phone, there's this app I use to record my expenses and my earnings every month. So at the end of the month, or at the end of a week, I think it does it weekly. At the end of the week, or 2 weeks thereabout, as the case may be, it gives me a pie chart to show me where the bulk of the money went to, and where the bulk of money came from, and where the bulk of money went to, right? Miracle is saying where there's a will, there's a way. Absolutely. There's always a way. All right. So this app gives me an idea of where the inflow and the outflow. At the end of the day, I feel happy with myself whenever I see that education is topping among the first 2 or 3, because it means resources went into books, resources went into courses, resources went into masterminds, resources went into avenues for me to better myself, to better my ability to learn and to earn too, right? So see reading as an investment. Like any investment, you save and you plan towards it. So I just want you to have a mind shift, see it differently. So create a budget for your personal library and carefully select what books to buy. I'll be showing you how to know what books to get. All right. Okay. There's another excuse or false excuse appearing real, is that reading is boring. Now, this is where I want some of us to heal from the trauma we have with reading. For most people, it's not just about the lack of the will. It's just that their first introduction to books and reading was not a pleasant encounter. For some of you, you were flogged to read in this part of the world where corporal punishment is still a thing, right? For some of you, you were scolded to read. You were forced to read the books. You didn't like to read. And so your subconscious mind equated reading with boredom, not the books you read back then with boredom. No, it generalized and jumped to conclusion, connecting reading generally with boredom. And this is natural, right? I'm not blaming you or whatsoever for that. It's something that happens subconsciously, right? And growing up, you find yourself that with every opportunity you have, you try to stay away from anything books. Back in the day when we graduated from the university, there was this friend of mine who was telling me that having read all that he has been reading for the past 5 years, he will not even as much as stress himself to read signboards anymore. Why? Because he believes that he has read and read and read as much as possible. Now he's traumatized. Signboard. You see that? So, growing up, most people saw reading as a chore. They considered reading, and so we equated reading with boredom. See that? We equated reading with boredom. However, reading is not boring. Some books are boring. So you can start the healing process by reading books that interest you first. All right? Start the healing process by reading books that interest you first. And for some people, the excuse is legitimate. I don't know what to read. And it's real, it's true. You don't know what to read. For this kind of people, I would say, define what you want to be, or define who you want to be first. Who do I want to be? I want to be somebody who is prudent with my finances. I want to be somebody who that book would title an intelligent investor. I want to be somebody who has a plethora of quality relationships that are built over time. I want to be a well-respected leader in my field. I want to be a well-respected professional in my field. I want to be a caring father to my two lovely daughters. I want to be a caring mother to my two lovely sons. I want to not be able to lose my children when they get to teenagehood. So what do? You start to read books on how to lead or how to interact with a teenager before your kids become teenagers, or even before you get kids. You see that? Very important. You want to be able to build relationships effortlessly. Now you start to read books that talks about networking, that talks about influence, that talks about human psychology, that talks about relationships. I want to be able to sell so and so number of real estate within a certain period of time. Now you want to start reading books on sales. Not even sales in the first place. You want to start reading books on human psychology because sales is psychology, right? You want to start reading books on persuasion. You want to start reading books on how to language communication, how to language your desires, or how to language your value proposition to be able to convince people to buy from you. So you start to get, now that you say, okay, I want to be the kind of salesperson who does 9 or 1 billion naira in real estate in 6 months, right? Now you know the kind of, you have set, that is a very, 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 very specific goal. Now, what do? You start to ask yourself, who do I become? How do I become that kind of person? Because those kind of people, they exist. First, you have to agree that they exist, right? And this is the importance of mentors. You have to have living, breathing reference points, references that tells you that this thing is possible, and then you can go for it and you can learn from them. All right. So define who you want to be first. What do you need to know to become that kind of person? Now, look for people who have written books in that area. Then get their books and read them. Or ask someone doing well in that field to recommend some books for you. There's a quote that says, whenever you hear a man of great wisdom, don't ask him, what is your name? Or don't ask him, where are you from? Ask him, what books do you read? When you find a man of great wisdom, don't ask him, where are you from? Ask him, what books do you read? What books or what voices have you subjected your mind to that influenced you this well, that you became this great at what you do? James Clear would say, read books that are relevant to what you want to achieve, and reading will never seem boring again. Read books that are relevant to what you want to achieve, and reading will never seem boring again.